Fight fans, buckle up. Islam Makhachev has everyone talking after showing off his absolutely jacked new physique ahead of his welterweight debut at UFC 322 against champion Jack Della Maddalena. The former lightweight king relinquished his 155-pound title earlier this year following Della Maddalena's stunning victory over Belal Muhammad at UFC 315 back in May, and now 5 months later, Makhachev is making waves with his transformed body. A video surfaced recently showing Makhachev wrestling on a beach in Dubai, and fans immediately noticed he's packing significantly more muscle than ever before. One fan on social media said he looks like a middleweight, while others are suggesting this could be the healthiest and most dangerous version of Islam we've ever seen. After years of brutal weight cuts to make 155 pounds, Makhachev finally gets to compete at a more natural weight class, and the MMA community believes his power could scale dramatically with that extra size. If Islam can bring the same dominant wrestling and suffocating top control to welterweight while adding knockout power he never had at lightweight, things could get very dangerous for Jack Della Maddalena and the entire 170-pound division. This is shaping up to be one of the most anticipated super fights of 2025. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss the latest UFC news, fight announcements, and breaking stories from the world of MMA. The war of words between Paddy Pimblett and Ilia Topuria has reached nuclear levels as their long-awaited showdown appears destined for early 2026. All signs point to these bitter rivals finally settling their grudge match, possibly headlining the first-ever UFC card on Paramount Plus in January. Their hatred runs deep, dating back to 2022 when they got into a physical altercation ahead of a UFC event in London, and the animosity has only intensified since then. Pimblett didn't hold back when speaking to Marca, accusing Topuria of trying to jump him when he was alone while Topuria had 10 people backing him up. The baddie claims Topuria made himself famous off Pimblett's name and believes he should have been the one to welcome Topuria to lightweight instead of the Georgian-Spanish fighter getting a gift-wrapped title shot.
I will inflict pain on his life. He wouldn't come out of that fight looking the same. I'd hit him with that many elbows. Is this going out to Spanish media? Step up, Ilia. Stop being a chorizo, be a man. You know, no one would know who Ilia Topuria was if it wasn't for me. He made himself famous off the back of my name. He wouldn't even be a champ now if it wasn't for him jumping on my coattails. And now he thinks he's too good to fight me. He wouldn't be where you are without me. The Bernabeu's a nice stadium, know what I mean? But to me, because it's his backyard, it's a shithole. That's like a metaphor, it's like what we say. I will come to the Bernabeu and I will punch his face in on the pitch, and then I'll batter half the team if I need to. But I'm taking the belt home, because he's not a Madrid fan. He's not even from Madrid. He's not even from Spain. He's from Benidorm, so he's not a Madrid fan. He just jumped on the coattails to get more fans and more followers. He's fake. He's so fake, like half of his followers, where it's been proven half his followers on Instagram are bots. He's the fakest person ever. He's just a McGregor copycat, and I'm getting sick of him. He's a German. He's not even Spanish, he's not even Georgian, he was born in Germany, he's German.
But Pimblett took things to another level by attacking Topuria's entire identity and nationality. The Liverpool fighter called out Topuria for claiming both Georgian and Spanish heritage, despite being born in Germany, accusing him of faking his identity to gain more fans. Pimblett straight up said Topuria is German and that he's jumped on the coattails of 2 different countries just to boost his follower count and popularity. He went even further, claiming half of Topuria's Instagram followers are bought and calling the lightweight champion the fakest person ever and nothing more than a Conor McGregor copycat. This is personal on levels we rarely see in MMA, and when these two finally meet in the octagon, it's going to be absolute fireworks. The verbal warfare guarantees massive pay-per-view numbers whenever this fight actually gets booked. Reinier de Ridder has broken his silence after suffering the first loss of his UFC career in devastating fashion against Brendan Allen in Vancouver. The former one championship, 2-division champion started strong, securing an early takedown and spending most of the first round on Allen's back, hunting for submissions. But everything fell apart for de Ridder in the later rounds as Allen turned the tables and started completely out-grappling the decorated submission specialist. By the 4th round, de Ridder was utterly exhausted, barely able to stand, and couldn't answer the bell for the 5th round, giving Allen a corner stoppage victory. Taking to Instagram, de Ridder admitted he wasn't the best fighter in the cage that night and acknowledged the loss stings badly.
I was not the best fighter Saturday in the cage. It sucks, it stings. I feel like shit. I'm grateful to experience the highs and the lows of the sport. You know, I tend to work harder and do more than most anybody. But over the last 2 camps, maybe I've exaggerated a little bit. I've been so focused on getting the title and being ready to where my body couldn't really follow. I shall not stray the course. Daddy's gonna take some time off, kids. Be nice out there. I'll see you guys soon.
However, he expressed gratitude for experiencing the lows alongside the highs, noting that fighters get to experience the full spectrum of emotions while most people coast through life at a constant mediocre level. The defeat ended de Ridder's impressive 4-fight unbeaten streak in the UFC, which included huge victories over rising star Bo Nickel and former middleweight champion Robert Whittaker. But here's the key detail. De Ridder has been incredibly active in 2025, with the Allen fight marking his 4th octagon appearance this year alone. In his statement, de Ridder suggested he may have pushed himself too hard across his last 2 training camps, admitting he was so laser-focused on earning a title shot and being ready when the opportunity came that he failed to listen to his body's warning signs. Now, the Dutch submission ace says he's taking some much-needed time off to recharge and rebuild before launching another title run in 2026. The loss likely cements Nassourdine Imavov as the next middleweight title challenger against current champion Khamzat Chimaev. But don't count out de Ridder. He's promising to come back stronger than ever. Tom Aspinall is having some fun at Ciryl Gane's expense ahead of their heavyweight title fight at UFC 321 this Saturday in Abu Dhabi. During Media Day on Wednesday, Gane suggested he might employ a strategy to drag Aspinall into deep waters, extending the fight past the early rounds where the English champion has done all his damage. Gane acknowledged that everyone knows both fighters' strengths and said he could manage distance effectively to reach the second round, or even go fast in the first round and then take Aspinall to those deep waters where questions about the champion's cardio remain. The thing is, Aspinall has been an absolute wrecking ball in the UFC. During his current 3-fight winning streak, not a single opponent has survived past 90 seconds of the first round. In his 8 total UFC victories, only veteran Andrei Arlovski made it to the second round before getting finished shortly after. Meanwhile, Gane has seen the judges' scorecards 5 times in 12 UFC appearances, so he definitely has more experience in longer fights. When Gane's deep waters comments were brought to Aspinall's attention during his media scrum, the heavyweight champion couldn't help but laugh. Aspinall pointed out that everybody who uses the words deep waters in the lead-up to fighting him ends up getting knocked out in the first minute, and he told reporters to go back and check the media archives.
He was just in here saying that he can manage his distance better than anyone that you fought before, and therefore he will be the one to be able to take you into these deep waters we so often speak about. There's this idea that's being spoken about that you have to finish this fight in 2 minutes to sort of like look as impressive as John and stuff like that. I'm sure you've heard that narrative, but what is your take on it?
Did he actually use the word deep waters?
He did.
Everybody who said the word deep waters gets knocked out in the first minute. Go back and check the media that you've done. So, I'm pretty happy with that. That's good.
The British fighter said he's pretty happy Gane mentioned deep waters because it's basically a jinx at this point. Despite entering as a massive favorite, currently sitting around 5-1 odds, Aspinall refuses to overlook Gane and emphasized that the Frenchman is really, really good and has been at the top of the heavyweight division for years. Aspinall jokingly said his game plan is actually to switch things up and win a boring split decision with nothing but jabs over 5 rounds while the crowd boos. But we all know that's not happening. When Saturday night arrives in Abu Dhabi, expect Aspinall to do what he does best: finish fights early and violently. Umar Nurmagomedov is making it clear he wants another shot at Merab Dvalishvili despite the bantamweight champion's apparent reluctance to run it back. This Saturday at UFC 321 in Abu Dhabi, Nurmagomedov faces Mario Bautista in an absolutely pivotal bantamweight clash. Nurmagomedov is looking to quickly re-establish himself as the #1 contender after losing his title challenge to Dvalishvili back in January, while Bautista could earn his first championship opportunity by defeating Nurmagomedov and recording his 9th consecutive victory. When asked during media day why Dvalishvili seems to have such disdain for him and keeps avoiding a rematch, Nurmagomedov suggested that the champion knows exactly what would happen in a second fight. The Dagestani contender pointed out that their first fight at UFC 311 was extremely close. They went the full 5 rounds in a competitive battle where Dvalishvili won a clear decision but couldn't put Nurmagomedov away. Since then, Dvalishvili has defended his title twice more against Sean O'Malley and Corey Sandhagen, and he's now scheduled to face Petr Yan at UFC 323 on December 6th. Nurmagomedov dismissed the idea that Dvalishvili is deliberately avoiding him, but made it clear he's not going to sit around and wait. The 29-year-old wants to stay active and hopes to fight again in early 2026, whether that's a rematch with Dvalishvili or another high-level opponent. If both men win their next fights, the rivalry could resume with even higher stakes, but Nurmagomedov emphasized he wants to compete in January or February, regardless of what the champion decides. This is a grudge match that clearly isn't going away anytime soon. Ciryl Gane thinks he might have an unlikely supporter cheering him on this Saturday night, former heavyweight champion Jon Jones. Heading into UFC 321, Gane is a significant underdog against Tom Aspinall, currently sitting around 3-1 odds according to FanDuel. But Bon Gamin suggested to Full Send MMA that Jones might actually be pulling for him because Aspinall disrespected the former champion during their year-long call-out saga. The French challenger acknowledged that Jones has retired and it's now their turn to determine the true heavyweight king. Jones initially announced his retirement back in June after refusing to fight Aspinall, which cleared the path for this undisputed title fight. However, Jones recently ended his retirement when President Donald Trump announced plans for a UFC event at the White House to commemorate Independence Day in 2026. Don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you never miss any UFC news, fight breakdowns, or exclusive content. Drop your predictions for UFC 321 in the comments. Are you riding with Aspinall, or do you think Gane pulls off the massive upset? Let us know and we'll see you at the next one.